It's a great conversation about this, Gordon. I think you make a great point that Japanese have great concept of ikigai, but why regular normal Japanese people are not so happy? Yeah, I felt the same way. My view of this is probably like I think it's the concept of ikigai. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it, but it's probably not in people's mind every day. It's probably a little bit of like higher concept. Many, yeah, definitely everybody knows it, but probably not realizing it in every day. And that might be because some people think ikigai is a very heavy things. Like small things might not be ikigai. Like I think Ken pointed out, right? Starts from small things. You may be able to find ikigai in everyday small things. And that's exactly right. And then I do some research on ikigai, talk to people who have mental health challenges, and then they feel the same way. So after I give them homework, like, okay, think about ikigai, collect some pictures about ikigai. And then they did, and they did some reflection notes. And after that, I interview them, and then they say like, well, after that deep reflection, some thoughts about ikigai, I start to feel like, I have some ikigai. But if I ask them to talk to them without any preparation, having them to prepare anything, maybe they say like, oh, I do not have ikigai. I don't think I'm happy. And I think there is some, I don't know, the mental barriers or something. I don't know. We really need to reflect ourselves to realize that. I think that's what's, we experiencing. And another thing that I think important was, the Gordon, I think you mentioned on social structure. I think that really is like, or maybe like social discourse, like, how life should be, what makes people important. That I don't know, I won't say propaganda, but how things should be, how, people should be happy, like, employment, right? You have job, you are successful, you will be happy. Probably like Japanese people are collectivistic. So maybe people would, happy to follow that social discourse. I think that's something that's also, that needs to be considered as well. So I think those things came to my mind. I thought, we need to think about.
Yeah, I completely agree. The only mark I've made, Shinichi, I mean, I know we come from different disciplines, and I think we've talked about this before at a different gathering of, individualism, collectivism would mean less to me than just a social structure where you've got to do what society tells you you need to do, which is very powerful. That's why somebody like Ichiro, when he left Japan and went to play baseball in the U.S., he said, "It's like I've died and gone to heaven." Now, America has its all massive problems, what I would say is an excessive individualism, but it is that pure social structure that seems to constrain people more than they need to be constrained, which is quite interesting. But I agree with all you're saying.
Nick, can I just make a brief response to what Shinichi said? Quite interesting things, Dr. Nagata, and so I think this is a very famous effect on cognitive science, Dunning-Kruger effect. This is the idea that incompetent people think they are competent. And when people talk about happiness, I sometimes feel that the less metacognition one has, the more he or she would feel happy. I mean, there's this idea that probably happiness comes from a lack of understanding of human condition, and that is certainly true. And I'm probably talking about Americans. I'm sorry, Americans. I mean, just joking. I mean, and another issue is that this philosophy of Leibniz. I mean, Leibniz subscribed to what they would call philosophical optimism, and he claimed that this world is the best of all possible worlds. I mean, this is a really interesting argument from Leibniz. So, from that point of view, no matter in which society you live, whether it's China, mainland China, Hong Kong, or North Korea, or Japan, once you adapt to a certain environment, probably you can find your small happiness. I mean, no matter where you go, where you are. I mean, so of course we need to improve society, I think there are several cognitive science and philosophical subtleties to be considered. And Gordon, do you have any response to this? I mean, you know what I'm hinting at, know, Gordon.
I'm actually quoting Leibniz in my talk. So yes.
Okay. That's great. That's great. All right. So Shinichi, thank you for your wonderful, talk